Nice to have you with us. Have a seat. I love that photo of Kiss up there, and it just...
Well, you would have loved to have been with us that night, because actually what happened was, it was during the days where I did a lot of Kiss pictures, and so they used to keep their clothes in my studio, and when they were in New York, they would come by and we would make pictures. So one night when Gene came over, I suggested that we take the bus, because it was pretty late at night, the bus up Madison Avenue to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The best pictures were really the bus driver's reaction to Gene getting on the bus. And,
I can imagine.
Yeah, well, he thought it was Halloween, you know.
Yeah.
And the next best shot was seeing me trying to help Gene lift himself up onto that pedestal, to get the shot.
You know, you've taken pictures of almost every big musical star there is, but you've never really thought of yourself as a professional photographer.
Right.
That doesn't make sense to me. Yeah.
Well, I try to think that what I'm about is, you know, manifesting other people's ideas and trying to get other people to see things the way that the artist wants to be seen. So, you know, the only time that I really thought, okay, I'm a photographer, is when I was confronted with shooting Bob Dylan, because he was really the only person in the world of music that really had the kind of effect on me that I thought of him as something, you know, other than just a musician. I sort of thought I was meeting God.
Really?
Yeah, I think most people do.
So,
I mean,
so were you nervous when you were working with him?
well, I had to make a choice, you know, that I was either going to be a 14-year-old fan
Right.
or a 24-year-old professional photographer. And so I knew that the most important thing for me to get was the picture. And when I walked in, I knew he really didn't expect me there, so I just it was in a recording studio, so I just...
So you weren't invited? You just went there?
Well, no, I was invited.
Yeah.
But I think the person who invited me felt that they wanted to make sure they would get pictures of Bob recording in their studio.
So they didn't tell him?
I had the feeling they didn't. Before I left, they told me they did, but I've learned that really you got to ask the person who you're photographing, especially if it's going to be Bob Dylan.
Right.
Yeah, so I just walked right up to him and stuck my hand in and said, "Hi, I'm Lynn Goldsmith, and I'd like to take your picture." I said it really fast. And he said, "Well, I'm sorry, but I already have a photographer." I was a little thrown off because there's a bit of Southern accent in there, and you just don't expect this Jewish guy from Minneapolis to have a Southern accent.
So he said he already has a photographer, so did you just go,
well,
okay, excuse me, Mr. Dylan, I'll leave now?
When you're a professional, I'm sure you know this, you have to, like, be persistent and have it in your mind that you're going to do everything possible to get the shot. So I said, well, with one photographer, you get one point of view, but with two photographers, you'll get two points of view.
Very clever.
He said, I get your point of view. So before he could say no, I just said, then I can shoot, right?
Yeah.
And he said, sure.
Now, do the celebrities come to you, or do you go to them? How does that work?
Well, it works both ways in terms of, you know, I mean, if I'm on an assignment for someone and I have to, you know, we meet in a place or they come to my studio, it works all different ways. But PhotoDiary is not really a book of pictures of musicians, although it appears that way on the surface.
I know what it is. It really is a book about you, too.
My odyssey, yeah, but I think it's about everybody. I think that music has been the universal language which has brought a lot of us together, you know, like a common ground. And that really, for a lot of us, has been some sort of healing. So that's what made me, I used to just resent so strongly the label rock and roll photographer. So I had to sort of stop and say, well, now that I'm older and I'm starting to find that label appealing, maybe I better look and see, well, I have photographed a lot of rock and roll musicians.
Well, I want to talk about some of them specifically that you have photographed when we come back, okay?
Yeah.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with Lynn right after this. Stay with us. photographer Lynn Goldsmith. Now, before we went to break, I said I wanted to talk about some of the people that you actually have worked with.
I thought most people want to talk to me about the people I've had sex with, so I'm glad.
Oh, really? Well, then we'll talk about that.
You can ask me anything.
Well, you know, there is a rumor.
A rumor?
I don't know if it's a rumor. You tell me if it. But there has been talk, let's say, about you having sex with many of the people that you photographed. Is that?
I wish I had the time to have sex with all the people that they say I've had it with.
Really?
You know, yeah, all of these things really used to bother me because I was so intent on, like, you know, my identity and that it should be for my work. And now that I realize how many people are doing so well because of their reputations of who they've slept with,
You're thinking,
I want to push it. If you think I've slept with them, go for it.
Well,
because all these other people are doing so well by it.
I was thinking the same thing, but I don't know. It probably wouldn't work for me. But you did. You were Bruce Springsteen's girlfriend.
Yeah, and in the book, in PhotoDiary, you know, in terms of my personal odyssey, I think everyone has relationships, and in their relationships they learn stuff.
Right.
Bruce and I had an intimate relationship, especially during a period of time in my life where I was learning about romantic love.
But what you left him. You left Bruce.
Surprise! Everyone thinks Bruce left me, but yeah.
Oh.
Who told you? Because that's right, I did.
Well, I was reading about it, and of course that's what you said. But I would, if he left me, well, of course he wouldn't leave me. But if I
Brian.
Now let's say if someone left me, I would probably say, well, I left her, I dumped her. You know what I mean?
It doesn't matter. You know, the thing is that I don't think I could ever have really been there for anybody because I wanted to be loved. I wasn't really thinking about loving somebody else. And it took years of understanding that to know that I must have left him because I could never have really been there in the first place.
Yeah. How about David Byrne, though? You had a relationship with him.
Yeah, that was what I learned about David Byrne, and that was a different thing.
Okay.
No, she wasn't with anyone, but let's go.
We're going down the list right now.
Well,
How about Michael Jackson? Were you with Michael? This could be something. This could be big news, actually.
I have good Michael Jackson stories.
Oh, you do?
But can I just finish my David Byrne story?
Okay, all right, yeah.
Because I just want to say that in PhotoDiary, in the last chapter, Friends and Lovers, the reason I put in certain things is because of what I got out of that. And the interesting thing about in the David Byrne relationship was I came from a background where screaming and yelling meant that you cared about somebody.
Right.
And when I screamed and yelled at David, he never talked to me again. So I learned, you know, that not everyone understands that to be what caring about somebody is. And
good lesson, actually.
It is a good lesson because I realized that some people don't learn love that way.
And they don't respond to that at all.
Yeah, no, they do.
Okay.
In a very negative
in a bad way, yes. All right, Michael Jackson, a quick story, because I want to go through.
Michael Jackson.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
I do.
Is he as far out there as everybody thinks? Think he's ever had, do you think he's ever had sex with Lisa Marie?
Well, what I love is how everyone like asks me, I mean, everyone talks, they don't just ask me, everyone talks about Michael Jackson. You know, did he really sleep in a thing? Did he have, you know, would he not breathe the air? Is he doing it with little boys? Is he white? Is he black? Is he whatever he is? And the way I look at it is pretty simple. Michael was 5 years old when he turned on TV for the Saturday morning cartoons, and there he was,
right.
You know. He's not going to have the same sort of reality as the rest of us.
Speaking of reality, how about Prince? Now there's we can't even call him Prince anymore. I mean, that's a weird guy. Right.
Yeah.
We don't even have a name for him anymore.
Yeah, the man who was Prince. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he'll always be a prince to me.
Yeah. So when was he good to you when you photographed him, or did he?
Well, he pays his bills.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah. He's really a wonderful client. The only problem is that he doesn't talk. And he does have the most amazing shoe collection, I think, that I've ever seen. I mean, I've been in Georgette Mossbacher's closet. I've been in Miles Davis's closet.
The
and I
shoes
can
about
tell you,
this big, though. They're all platforms, aren't they? Because he's a little guy.
Pretty much, yeah. They're
Quickly,
amazing shoes.
Is there anybody that you've worked with that you don't ever want to work with again?
Well, Miles is dead.
Oh.
So
That's you, but I'm talking about someone that you hated the experience of working with.
Yes.
There is?
Yes.
And you're not going to tell us?
Oh, no, I'll tell you. I told you I'd answer anything.
Okay.
Ringo Starr.
Ringo Starr?
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. All right, I wish we could find out more about
Well, you
Ringo
can.
Starr.
Buy the book.
We will. All right. Thank you, Lynn.
You're welcome.
Pleasure meeting you.
Same here.
Okay.
I guess